Square.
The content, information, and opinions expressed during the related show are those of the show personalities and guest alone, and not those of Vic Canellis Media Group, its parent, affiliates, or stations. VCMG Live is not responsible for any content, information, or opinions expressed. User bears full responsibility for their reliance on such content, information, or opinions.
Welcome to Making Money with Laura Sanders, a name you can trust. With over 20 years of real estate experience and selling over 150 homes a year, Laura Sanders is the #1 RE/MAX agent in the state of Florida for 2021. Join us each week as we discuss how to make money through buying and flipping homes, to renting versus selling, and everything in between. To join the conversation, call in live 888-994-4995, Studio A.
Hi, and welcome. Today is Monday, 6 o'clock. We are talking about how to make money with Laura, and I'm excited for our guest today. Our guest specializes in Airbnbs. So let's say welcome to Heino. I think I said that right.
Yes, you did.
Welcome.
Thank you, thank you.
So one of my new passions is Airbnbs. So I started to do a couple of my own. I did my first one without you, and then I said I'm never doing that again on my own. So you've helped me recently with one, which that was fun. Mm-hmm. Not really. And we're in the process of doing another one. So what I thought would be helpful is to talk about how this helps people to get into the Airbnb business. Do you think it's worth getting into the Airbnb business? I'm hearing that they're becoming overly saturated. I just did a couple in Pompano, so the rules there are pretty strict and stringent. And I'm looking and I'm seeing a ton of them available. So,
Yes. I do see that lately, that people talk a lot about saturation and when it comes to the short-term rental market. But actually, if you have the right property in the right area and the right setup, you definitely can still make a lot of money.
okay.
Yes.
So when you say the right property, let's first talk about that. What is the right property?
Yeah, the right property here in South Florida, for example, is like, we pretty much say anything east of 95 is a good property. Anything that people have like easy access to the beaches, easy access to shopping, easy access to entertainment and art, anything they like to see here on the beaches, which is great. So anything east of 95 is definitely a good area.
So you said the right kind of property. So being that you want to be close to the beach, does it need to have a pool?
Not necessarily, but we always suggest at least have some kind of form of water there. So it can be like a whirlpool, can be like fun showers, anything that, because
fun showers.
Yeah, fun showers means like anything, because you're going to have a lot of people here coming from the northern parts of the states. We have international travelers. We have a lot of people coming from all over the world, and they like to rest here. Most of the people you probably know from your properties, they don't even cook a lot. They just come, they sleep, they just enjoy their time here. They go to the beach, they see some shows, they see like anything that they want to do here, like easygoing.
So one of the things that I guess I was misinformed about is I thought that it made sense to have a pull-out couch, but I guess that was a waste of money.
Yeah, it depends. You can, if you have a bedroom, absolutely, you can have a pull-out couch. You can have like a regular bedroom. But pretty much every city here in South Florida will have a bedroom for 2 people. So whenever you have like a pull-out couch and you want to put more guests in there, any city ordinance usually says 2 people per bedroom, and this is what you have to go by. So when you have like a 4-bedroom home, you're going to have like a 4-bedroom home for 8 people plus children. So it's always for adults. So whenever you see like a bedroom, it's always for two adults.
So if somebody came to you and said to you, I want to start an Airbnb, right? What city would you say is the easiest city to create an Airbnb?
The easiest city right now, I would think it's Fort Lauderdale, because that vacation rental team in Fort Lauderdale is very quick to set up appointments. They are very organized when it comes to all the paperwork and all the filings, because the filing, as you know from our setup there,
I'm still confused.
It's very tedious, because you have to have like certain licenses in order to get the next license to be able to actually run an Airbnb. Because every time I see this, I get phone calls, hey Heino, I do have an Airbnb, I just got a citation from the city, and they're requesting a license, and they shut me down, and now that's why they're calling me, and then I'm like, okay, so how long was it online? And some people tell me like 40 days, some people 60 days, and the city can actually put liens on homes if you continue advertising your home on Airbnb, on your own website, and they will do that, and they're very, very quick, and they will find you. And I always tell clients, it's not if they find you, it's gonna when they find you. They will.
And they can go as far back as...
I've seen cases where they go back like 100 days.
Just 100? They wouldn't go back years?
I've seen 100 days. Usually, for example, Fort Lauderdale has a team, a back office team. There's more people in the back office finding those unlisted and unlicensed properties, while there is a team of 4 agents that actually code compliance officers that are out and
they
checking
knock on the
those
doors,
properties.
right?
And yeah, you can
And
have
they
a
ask.
citation on. Yes,
They did it to me during COVID on a property I did in
Yes,
Oakland
yes,
Park.
yes.
They knocked on the door during COVID because you weren't allowed to utilize your Airbnb during COVID, and they said, "Are you a long-term renter?" Of course, they said, "No, I'm only here for few weeks," and they
Yes.
said no.
Yes.
So I had a lien on my property.
Yes, it does happen, and you got to be careful, because there's like a couple things you really have to keep in mind when running an Airbnb. You can advertise it yourself. You still need a license. You can advertise it on Airbnb, on Vrbo, and all the websites. But always make sure that you have that license in place, because if you don't, it will cost you a lot of
And
money.
it needs to be hanging in the house.
It will be hung in the house, just like I set yours up. And so when you start the whole process, you start with the hotel license. You have to have a lodging license first. Then you have to get the Broward County, for example. Let's just stay in Fort Lauderdale, for example.
Right.
You have to have the Broward County local business tax receipt. When you're here in Palm Beach, you need the Palm Beach Broward
Right,
County.
okay.
You need the city local business tax receipt as well. We have to set you up for the sales tax and the tourist development tax. So all this has to be set up in order to actually receive the license after successful check of the code compliance officer, making sure that everything is in accordance. Because pretty much what you run is, you don't have a house anymore. What happens is
You're running a hotel, essentially.
You're running a hotel, and just like in hotel rooms, where you see when you close the door, you see like escape plans. They have phones. They
Right.
have like smoke detectors set up. They have everything set up.
And
for
every
you to
city's
be,
got a little bit different requirement.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, I know you're probably going to say this, but what is the hardest city to get approved?
Right now, because I always said Pompano Beach was
I
very.
figured you were, 'cause that's where I'm at,
no,
so.
but it shifted a little bit, because Pompano Beach, actually there is one lady that handles all the Airbnb. She's very nice, very good to deal with, but you have to be very precise and filing those.
So let's talk about what precise means. Because I've learned the hard way.
Yeah, precise means you have to do certain steps. Like it's like a step-by-step system. Like I said, you have to get the lodging license. You have to make sure you're with the Broward County, for example, the Broward County local business tax receipt. Once you have this, then you can go always a step further. And in the meantime, I advise clients to what their home should look like. You have to make sure that all the permits are closed. There is no liens on the house. You have to make sure that that the house is pretty much ready and safe for guests to use. Because we had homes, you probably have seen this in the past. We have homes where people have like live cables hanging out of the walls. I mean, we had like events where it was not fun.
Right. But what you didn't say And
I've got to.
no, you didn't say this, and I think this is super important. Let me tell you what I think is important. I think it's important to make sure that people understand that if you buy a house and you know you're going to Airbnb it, and you know that they've put in a new water heater, you need to check to make sure that they pulled a permit for that.
Yes.
Give you another example.
Yes.
A lot of people, as a realtor, most people don't realize that you need a permit to put in an air conditioner, even if the one was already there. You need a permit for technically even a dishwasher, but they're probably not going to get you for that. But you need a permit for a water heater. You need a permit for an air conditioner. You need a permit for putting in a kitchen, even if you're just changing out the cabinets in the same spot.
Yes.
You need a permit
Windows.
for a lot of things that you're not aware because you're not informed because you don't do this. So I'm a realtor and I bought one and I never thought to say, okay, did you pull a permit for the water heater? A lot of people put water heaters in without
Correct.
permits. So
Yes.
I had to go backwards and pull a permit for the water heater.
Yes, we actually this morning I was in Hollywood. Now Hollywood requires like noise detection systems outside and inside the properties, and it just measures the noise of the guests in the property. We're not recording what they're saying, but it's it informs the homeowner if there's like a certain decibel reached.
No kidding.
It will over a certain time.
Where do you get this from? I'd like to just have it just to make sure people aren't doing it. So I don't want to bother my neighbors. Like, people get upset.
Yeah, it's not very costly, but
Yeah.
in the long run, it actually protects you as a homeowner, because if you have this in your house and you get the notification from that system before the city gets the phone call from your neighbors, don't you just want to make sure that you have this in place and
Right.
call your tenants and say, hey,
I didn't
can you
even know
just
that was a thing. And
Yes,
I mean,
it's-
I learn something new every day, and that's
Yes.
why we want people to know, because what happens, the purpose of the show is making money, right?
Yes,
We want
yes.
people to learn how to make money. So if you have to sell your Airbnb, you're going to lose money, right?
Yes,
Because you don't
yes.
know how to run it, or the city's giving you a hard time and you're not making cash. You want to stop this up front. So that's why we want to introduce you, so that you could have these people call you to set up their Airbnbs for them. Because
Yes.
I would imagine that, I'm sure you're not set up on Google to Google like how to set up an Airbnb and then it goes to you.
No, plus it's very
But
different.
you should be.
I should, but I do have a website, and you
But
can
you gotta
definitely-
find you.
Yes, that's true, but I get pretty much like word of mouth. I get like a lot of bookings from like even companies that are doing it for many years, like Vacasa, Turnkey. They reached out to me to set up their clients. I mean,
Right.
you know, it's
Yeah,
like
that's how I
it's-
found you.
It's
But
very,
they were not for me personally.
Yes.
Like, I felt like I wasn't
And
getting
it's-
what I needed from them, and
Yes.
that's scary to find a company that,
yes.
you know, gives your clients.
But we got your license,
We
and,
did.
and that was in Pompano Beach, one of the most difficult cities to get. And then
One down.
One down, a couple more to go. But we get this done, and the good thing is Airbnb is still a very lucrative business. So like I would say, like, if you rent just on a regular basis and compare this to an Airbnb, you can pretty much say that you triple your monthly income having an Airbnb.
Yeah, it definitely could be very lucrative.
Yes.
I mean, there's a lot involved in it, but so I know there's, like, we talked about, do you need a license? Yes, you need a license. We talked about what happens if you have liens and open permits. We talked about that, right?
Yes. There's a couple.
What cities don't allow you to have an Airbnb? I thought that nobody could tell you no.
There is
I read an
cities-
article,
yes,
and
there-
you're telling
there-
me that's
yes,
not true.
There are cities, for example, Boca doesn't allow Airbnbs. So you see a lot of listings and on Airbnb, and Boca is letting them run for a little while, but they can potentially put a lien on their house if they are online, and they will get that information.
What
But
would the
Boca-
lien cost, though? Like,
it can
how
be
bad could it be?
Yeah, it can. It differs. So every city, even the setup for Airbnbs, it's like every city is like different. And for example, like Fort Lauderdale is different than Boca. Oakland Park, even though part of Fort Lauderdale, is different than Wilton Manors. Wilton Manors is different than Hollywood. So, and the fees can differ. They can be like $300 a night, they can be $500 a night, and they will let it run for a couple days, a couple weeks, couple months, and then eventually you're going to get that bill. You will be slapped with a bill having no license in place.
But
I cannot stress
let's
this
say
enough.
you advertised it, right? But you never actually rented it. You're still going to get fined.
You can still get fined, even though, but it's very unlikely that you rent it, that you advertise it and not get bookings. You will get bookings if the price is okay, if the price is right, then you will get bookings. I mean, it's pretty much. But just like your tenants find your listing, so will the city, and they're very smart.
I don't know. I
They're
can't
ve-
find my own.
They're very straight. I always wonder too because the other day I had like one lady, and I told her a couple months ago. I think that I even told you this, and the lady, and she said, "No, you know what? They're never going to find me. There's so many listings in there," and just last week she called me $45,000 lien on her house.
45,000.
45,000, and the city will go. They will get that money. They will get that money.
45,000.
45,000.
How do you determine that?
She had like 90 days or something in there, and after 90 days, she got the pink slip on the door, and then she says, "That's a lien."
Wait.
they put
90 days is 45,000. How do you justify that?
It's like 90 days. I think they did like $500 a night or so. It was it was a lot. It was.
I'm speechless. I'm definitely.
They can. I mean,
Yeah.
they can even.
This should scare people.
when
This
you-
should
when
really
you
make
have-
you think about that they need to really think about
Because
this.
this is what I always when I meet those code compliance officers, I say, you know what? It's not people. Some people just don't know. They just don't know. Am I allowed to do it? Because they don't even ask that
Yeah, I
question
mean-
because they just don't know.
Yeah, but I wouldn't
So,
know. I mean,
you know,
if I wasn't a realtor, I don't think I would know that you needed to get a license.
yeah, you have to. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't know, but the city will tell you just because you didn't know, you still need a license. And since you don't have a license, here's your fine. Sometimes you can, if the fine is not so much, you can still call the officer and explain your situation that you didn't know. I've seen cases where they just take it off. But if it's very high, and sometimes people get warnings from the city and they're still advertising it, they barely get out of it. I've never seen anybody get out of this. It does happen.
Okay.
So,
A short term. But let's say you list it with a realtor, and you say minimum 3 months. Is that still considered short term?
no,
I
it
mean,
depends what city it is. It
Okay.
always depends. You always have to look into the ordinance. Every city has a city ordinance, and the city ordinance will exactly tell you what the maximum occupancy is, the length of vacation rental that you can actually rent that house or the condo. Condo is a different story. It's very difficult to obtain because you have to have.
Well, the condo wants to.
The homeowner association. You need before I start anything, I always ask the owner, can you get the okay from the homeowner association before we can even start? Most of the time, they don't even want to give it. So that means you save money by not paying me, but also not paying the city because you're not going to get a short-term rental license because your association is not fine with it.
Wow.
That's why most of the people will buy single-family homes, 2 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms, preferred.
Right.
And you had a very good question with the swimming pools and the water source, or at least whirlpool. This is definitely something to look out for. So if you want to get a nice property that makes good money, try to get a property with a pool.
Okay. So if you were going to do an Airbnb, what city would you pick?
I would probably pick Fort Lauderdale still.
Okay.
Not just because it's the lightest, but I also know a lot of people, a lot of guests that we have coming down here, they like that it's pretty easy to go to the beaches. There is lots of lifestyle, there is bars, there is restaurants. You can go to Miami. It's easy access from the airport. I mean, there's a lot of pluses. And I would say, when I say Fort Lauderdale, I would say all the way till pretty much like north of Pompano, anywhere there. So Hollywood, I don't know. It's very different and difficult to get a license right now because these inspectors, they're pretty much on their knees looking for issues with the property.
Okay.
It's true.
And if anybody has any questions and they wanted to call in, we are accepting calls at 1-888 994-4995, and we're in Studio A. So you can give us a call. You can ask Heino any questions that you have. So I did have another question. What was the other question that I had? Okay, so I asked you what you would do, right? And then we talked about this.
And then the pool.
The pool. If people were looking, well, I forgot, but I will remember. If people are looking to reach out to you, what would be the best email for you and the best contact number for you?
So if anybody has questions, then I will definitely be available. So you can send me an email to floridahomes@usa.com, or my phone number is 954-304-4617.
And also, just to put it out there too, if you have any real estate questions and you need help finding that Airbnb, I'd love to help you. My number is 954-650-0827, and my email is my website is laurasell.com. And there's no S, I couldn't afford it. So we're talking about the Airbnbs, what makes the most sense to invest in. You kind of told us what you'd be willing to. I wanted to talk a little bit about, not that you would really know about liability, but there was an incident that happened recently in Wilton Manors. Does something like that create to get the Airbnb shut down? Or, because an owner can't know that somebody's going there to have a party.
Yeah, so what I always, it's very, very important, because I just had this conversation with this inspector this morning, because we had homeowners. They said, oh, you know what, I just don't tell my insurance. But you should tell your insurance, because if something happens to your home, if anything happens to your guest, make sure that you have insurance, because liability insurance is very, very important. And you might pay a little bit more in premium, but you will make that up in revenue if you do everything right.
And probably an umbrella policy as well.
Exactly. I mean, Airbnb does have policies, but also just make sure that you have like a policy for your own house. But just let the insurance company know that you're renting out on a regular basis.
Yeah, this incident was something crazy that had happened in that area. So I know that, that kind of, puts us. So being that you do a lot with the Airbnb, anything crazy ever happen?
Well, I mean, there's serious stuff happened. Like, there's one of the reasons we have those pool alarms. You've seen them in your house.
I do those, yeah.
And because it's pretty much everything that we set up is not just to protect the guest, but also to protect you. Because once you buy a property from Laura, and she sets you all up, you just want to make sure that everything is like perfect. Everything is just ready to go. And then we also have a funny thing that happened was actually that happened in Pompano Beach was the guest overstayed there an extra day, and they didn't tell really the management company, but I had an inspection scheduled, so I was knocking at the door. And they didn't hear me, so I was able to get into the pin pad. I said, that's kind of weird because there's a car here, but let me just see. I didn't see anybody. I said, okay, inspector, come in. And just when we get to the primary bedroom, in that bathroom, they were taking a shower, so we just had to take a step back, wait till they get ready. Once they were finished showering, we were able to conduct the rest of the inspection. Passed the inspection, but there was some funny moment. It was not so.
No, so like, you get something like that, and I just recently had somebody stay in my property, and they came from another country, I think Turkey. Anyway, so I get it. So obviously, I don't speak Turkish or whatever it's. I don't speak another language, so they're doing everything through messaging me through the message center. So of course, it's transcribing it, and she came here pregnant. Now I don't know why my brain didn't go to like, you're this pregnant, why are you here? You should be traveling your last trimester, right? So,
right.
So I get a text message, and it says that it sounded like somebody stole her baby. And I'm reading it a couple of times. So now I'm calling my friend who's a cop. I'm like, what do I do with this? Like the whole 9 yards. Anyway, long story short, she brought the baby here to get a passport. Wow. Somebody charged her $3,500. Wow. I thought they were trying to scam me, but they weren't. So, wow. But I called a well-checked. Cops came out, checked on her, and I was like, can I get a dull day? Just one dull day. Anyway, so I just want to say thank you so much for coming out today.
Thank you for having me.
I continue to learn every day. if you're thinking about doing an Airbnb, you definitely need to give Heino a call because he can help you. He knows what he's doing, and it is very stressful. So thanks for joining us tonight. I look forward to seeing you all again next Monday at 6 o'clock, and have a wonderful day. Laura Sanders, How to Make Money with Laura. You can call me at 954-650-0827. Thanks, and have a great day.
Thank you for tuning in for Making Money with Laura Sanders, a name you can trust. To join the conversation, call us at the studio, 888-994-4995 Studio A, or contact Laura directly at 954-650-0827. Laura Sanders, a name you can trust. We look forward to seeing you next week.